Hello everybody and welcome to week 12 of Pokemon of the Week. Oh how time flies. This week it's going to be our rather elegant Pokemon in the NU tier, Gardevoir, number 282. We're halfway through the Psychic segment of the Pokemon of the Week series now, so hope you're still enjoying. Gardevoir is NU and its usage actually has gone up very highly over the last few months, and I'm going to quickly explain why. Gardevoir used to be, even in NU, not very often used. And there were two reasons for this. Well, one reason, but two separate Pokemon. That is, Jinx and Mesprit, for the attack and defense options respectively, used to boss NU constantly. They were since removed from the NU tier, meaning Gardevoir is now quite commonly used. It has three abilities. Synchronize means that if you get burned, paralysed, poisoned, it returns back to the user that inflicted it. Alakazam last week had the same ability, if you recall. Alongside that, it has Trace, which is a marvellous ability, which basically means you copy the ability of the Pokemon you're facing. This is very handy, especially in higher tiers actually if you're ballsy, because Pokemon that have Intimidate, you can intimidate them back, and usually Pokemon that have Intimidate are physical attackers. A notable exception is Masquerain in the NU tier, just so you're aware. The third ability is Telepathy, and in single battles that is completely and utterly useless. What it does is prevents you from taking damage from allies' attack, for example in a double or triple battle. In single battles it does nothing. Being a pure psychic type, once again, like last week, there are 3 weaknesses, 2 resistances and no immunities. We're weak to Bug, Dark and Ghost, and we resist it ourselves in the form of Psychic and Fighting types. The base stats for Gardevoir actually look pretty good, but you wish just a bit more speed. Its HP, attack and defense are all pretty poor, but its special attack of base 125 is incredibly high, especially for NU, and a base speed of 80 is, well, it's not great, but that's kind of the standard you need in the NU tier. The first set is, well, put it this way, it's the set that I personally find the most useful, and it's the most ambiguous as well. You have a lot of different sets that you could run for this dual screen set. Basically, 2 moves you need are Light Screen and Reflect. They're the dual screens as they're known. Basically, Light Screen improves your special defense for 8 turns with Light Clay, and Reflect improves for 8 turns your physical defense. So you can see why that is very useful. It affects all Pokemon that are on your side for 8 turns. So yeah, basically this set is very hard for me to explain, because usually with a dual screener your second purpose for Gardevoir depends on what your team needs. If, for example, you want to be able to set up your screens and try and prevent people from setting up on you at the same time, Taunt is a great example of a move that can really help you out. If you just want to go for attacking options, you have Psychic, Psyshock and Focus Blast as your main options. There are more than that. Psychic and Psyshock will obviously get the same type attack bonus, but Focus Blast can be quite useful for all those pesky Pokemon that would come in to otherwise basically resist everything else you would throw at it. You can go for status appealing moves to go alongside screens. That is quite a good option, and your options for that include Thunder Wave, Toxic and Will-O-Wisp, providing Paralysis, Bad Poison and Burn respectively. There's another option going for the Wish Protect combo, because if you use Wish you are going to heal half of your maximum health to either yourself or another Pokemon that switches in, and having Protect in collaboration with Wish means you are guaranteed to receive your own wish. The problem with that is obviously that if you get taunted you can't do anything other than switch out, which is why a possible alternative is to go for an attack and a status move. That would be the most common thing, so you would normally see Light Screen, Reflect, Psychic and then something like Will-O-Wisp. That's quite common. The EVs, you want to maximise your speed to make sure you go first in case you do get taunted. You can get 1 screen up. You want to maximise your health, because if you run Wish you want to be able to pass the biggest wish possible. And the other 4 is kind of not important. You want to have a timid nature though. Even though it may be tempting to go with something like a calm nature, you need to go first. It is really quite important, because the Pokemon that will switch into you will often force you to either 2-hit kill it, or you just need to run away and get one screen up quickly. Now, normally I would do 3 sets, but the choice options for Gardevoir have been Choice Scarf and Choice Specs. Normally, all the difference would be one would be a Revenge Killer and one would be a Wall Breaker, and I could give you the same set for each and explain why you'd use which when. Gardevoir's got a bit of a more deep purpose though with its choice items, because with a Choice Scarf it becomes sort of anti-weather. Being modest and running Trace, along with a Choice Scarf, you are going to, with the combination of moves I have listed there, hit everything in NU pretty much on a super effective move. There are a few exceptions. I mean, one that comes to mind instantly is Skuntank, which is kind of a bane of Gardevoir's existence if you aren't very careful. But let me go through the moves. Signal Beam may seem a very weird choice. There's one key reason for this, because with a Choice Scarf, Exeggutor can't be KO'd in one hit with Shadow Ball, but it can with Signal Beam, which is why you should pick it. Psychic is your stab move of choice. Why is there no Psyshock, you may ask? Simple reason, it doesn't hit anything in NU harder, so you want to stick with Psychic. Focus Blast is for those pesky steel types that would otherwise cause you big problems. Mawile and Sucker Punch you still have to be very careful of, so watch out. And the final move, because in NU there are a lot of rubbish water type Pokemon, Thunderbolt is your best choice. You can go for a hidden power, but I believe they are the 4 best things to go. Now I'm going to quickly show you the variant, I suppose, on the same set. This is the anti-weather with the Choice Specs. Obviously you lose a lot of speed in return for a lot of special attack power, and you'll notice 2 key differences in the move set. The first one is that we're running Shadow Ball over Signal Beam. With Choice Specs, Shadow Ball will still one-hit KO Exeggutor, almost guaranteed. So you can run a move that has better type coverage alongside your stab Psychic. The other move that's changed is Trick. Now Trick can very much run on Choice Scarf sets, and it's quite common on Choice Scarf sets. The reason why it's better to run it on a Choice Spec set is because if you hit a Pokemon with a Choice Scarf, usually it can still work around the Choice Scarf because it's quicker. If you give a physical attacker a Choice Specs, it's not any quicker, and it's going to get locked into one move with no boost in power. It's a much higher risk strategy to use a Choice Specs and Trick together than a Choice Scarf and Trick, but that's what makes it worthwhile, because in NU you need to try and stand out with something you're good at, so you need to try and optimize what you can do. The same EVs, as you can see, maximizing your special attack and speed. One thing to quickly know is that if you're going for a Choice Specs, you definitely need Timid, and if you're going for a Choice Scarf, you definitely need Modest, because if you don't run Modest on your Choice Scarf set, you're not going to do enough damage to hit KO a lot of Pokemon, and with your Choice Spec set, you're going to get outsped by a whole massive number of base 80 Pokemon that have all gone for either Jolly or Timid themselves. So you really have to maximise your speed on the Choice Spec set. The last set that I'm going to go through is arguably the most common one, which you may be a bit confused by as to why I put it last. It's actually not very fashionable anymore. It used to be very common, not so much anymore, but now that Mesprit as well as Jinx have gone away from the NU tier, in theory this should come back and there should be a resurgence of this set. Basically what you do is set up your substitute on a turn that somebody switches. If you think that you can still take the Pokemon that have switched in, you start Calm Minding, and then you can pick one of your 2 attacks to destroy him. Or if alternatively a different Pokemon comes in that you can't beat, then you either hit it once with your Focus Blast, normally if it's a Dark type, or alternatively, depending on which set you've run, you need to run away and switch out, because if there is a key example, and I've used it before in Skuntank, Skuntank has access to Pursuit, which is the bane of all psychic types. So basically, if you're behind the sub, you can switch out and guarantee yourself to not be killed by Pursuit. If you've decided to run Shadow Ball over Substitute, which is a feasible option, you've got no escape from Skuntank whatsoever, and it is quite common in NU because of its unusual dark poison typing. Only Drapion has that as well, and obviously that's not in NU, so you need to be very careful. If you think that Skun Tank is not a problem. Run Shadow Ball. Psychic, Ghost and Fighting's tight coverage is very, very impressive, especially in NU. And with your base 125 special attack, you're going to 2-hit kill everything with a Life Orb, and most things with an Expert Belt. The choice between the two is an interesting one. You're going to be able to sweep for longer with an Expert Belt because your health won't run out, but you may not get the KOs you crucially need to be able to do your full sweep, so the choice is up to you. I would say it depends on what entry hazards you have. If you've got a team that's based around setting up lots of entry hazards, definitely use the Expert Belt because you'll want to live as long as possible. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting. Peace out, everyone.
If you enjoyed the video you've just seen, please join my Facebook group and follow me on Twitter for the latest news.